Why does God sometimes stack the odds against us in order to bring Himself the glory that He rightly deserves? God is always working on our behalf, but we don't always see it. We don't always recognize it. And so, God stacks the odds against us in such a way that we may see it more clearly His hand of deliverance. Nothing is impossible for God. Think about Gideon in the Old Testament. When Gideon brought 32,000 men into the battle, the odds were already stacked against him. The book of Judges tells us that the Midianites, the Amalekites, and all other eastern people had settled in the valley thick as locusts. Judges 7:12. 32,000 men were no match for such a vast army. But God stacked the odds even further, whittling Gideon's army down to mere 300 men. Why? God Himself gives us the reason in Judges 7:2. In order that Israel may not boast against me, that her own strength has saved her. Or how about Lazarus in the New Testament? When Jesus received word that his friend Lazarus was sick and dying, Jesus intentionally delayed going so that Lazarus would be 4 days in the grave by the time he got there with his disciples. Why? So that there would be no question that Lazarus had truly died when Jesus raised him from the grave. Jesus stacked the odds against a simple healing in order to perform the greater miracle of a resurrection. John 11, verses 1 to 11. There's another reason Abraham was able to exercise faith against impossible odds. He knew that God is always faithful to keep his promises. Abraham believed God's promise because he knew God's character. God's character is one of absolute faithfulness. Abraham believed God because he considered him faithful who made the promise. If God kept the hardest promise of all, that of sending his own son into the world as a sacrifice for sin, will he not also keep all of his other promises? Romans 8:32 reads, "He who did not spare his own son, but gave him up for us all, how will he not also, along with him, graciously give us all things?" And when you choose to believe God against the odds, God works through your faith in his promise to bring great blessing. God will bring great blessing to you, and God will bring great blessing to others through you. Galatians 3 in the New Testament puts it this way: Consider Abraham. He believed God, and it was credited to him as righteousness. Understand that those who believe are children of Abraham. The scriptures foresaw that God would justify the Gentiles by faith and announce the gospel in advance to Abraham. All nations will be blessed through you. So those who have faith are blessed along with Abraham, the man of faith. Galatians 3 6 to 9. To doubt God's promise is to doubt God's power, or to doubt God's character. And to doubt God's promises is to forfeit God's blessing for yourself and for others. Can you trust God's promise against all odds? Be blessed.